wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now.
A little carryover value, too, from last night. The only loss in today's game for both teams came from the aforementioned Allentown Central Catholic team. We saw Mr. Ute in action last night. Mark mentioned him earlier. A 43-yard field goal to pretty much salt that one away last night. Allentown Central, the champions already, and one of these two teams trying to get it here this afternoon.
Yeah, we mentioned Ute. Whitey Williams, coach for Mount Carmel, says Ute was one of the big reasons why Allentown Central Catholic defeated Mount Carmel. His tremendous punts, about a 40-yard average through 8 punts in the ball game, had Mount Carmel pinned in very poor field position throughout the game.
He's rolling. Looks, he's going to be hit short of a first down. Another great play. Adam Frederick is in on the play, along with Rich Greer again. Well, big country, big player, big play, big hit. Big loss to the 35.
Yeah, here we see Nick Sebas really nowhere to go. That pocket collapsed almost immediately. You know, should be no surprise that this game is scoreless after 1 quarter. As far as the points allowed for each defense, Mount Carmel, they've allowed about 8 points per game. Meanwhile, Shady Side, about 8 points per game, and they rank 18th and 20th, respectively, in the state.
Sebas back on 4th and 6, going to keep it himself. Now unloads, pass caught, first down to the 14. Matt Van Doren came back to help Sebas out that time. First down, Mount Carmel. Gain of 21 and a first down, Red Tornado.
And you want to know how well this ball was thrown? Scott Booker has this totally covered downfield, misses it by about a finger. Watch this pass right on the numbers. There's Booker, and it's right there.
That's a nice dart to Matt Van Doren. Lined up left, cut across the middle right. Sebas, the quarterback, you could see it on the replay, saw him the whole way, waited till he broke free of the coverage, and zipped the dart in there. Big pass play for Mount Carmel.
Rhythmic chant for the Mount Carmel faithful. Handoff, John Beach. Breaks 1 tackle, slithers and slides to the 10. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 now, as Mount Carmel beginning to knock on the door again. This is their 2nd deep trip inside the red zone.
This is a nice piece of running by John Beach. Watch, it just stops. Slips a tackle right there. Looked like he was going to be tackled at about the 15-yard line, but dove ahead for about 5 more yards. So real nice running by the sophomore John Beach.
Don't want to make too many empty trips in here, especially in a state championship environment. Both offenses highly flammable. They can light up at any moment. Sebas on a keeper. Naked bootleg. Big hole to the outside. To the 5. 3-2-1 touchdown. Mount Carmel. Sebas roars in from 10.
Watch the work of guard Mike Sinkovich, number 58. He's out there leading the pack. There he is. Boom. Great seal block. And right there, Sebas uses his speed from about the 7-yard line on in to get into the end zone for the first score of this ball game.
One of the weirder looking extra point shifts that you will see. Sinkovich on for the extra point. Not often you see an offensive lineman. It's kind of a Lou Groza look. Bang, right down the middle. 7-0. Mount Carmel with 10:16 to go here in the opening quarter. An impressive drive set up by the turnover on the punt return by Shady Side. Here's Nick Sebas, only a junior.
What sells this run is the fact he's showing pass the whole time as he's rounding the corner, freezes the linebackers, and ends up dancing into the end zone. First touchdown of the game belongs to Mount Carmel. They're up 7-0.
It's a long drive. 6 plays, 61 yards. Set up by the fumble on the punt return. Well, Shady Side now getting a chance to counter back on offense. They haven't exactly been out there that often. Mount Carmel has really controlled the clock, and Joel Bechtel is at the game, our executive producer.
That guy's in a room with not a lot of lights on sometimes. That's an interesting outfit there this afternoon. Only thing he's missing is Mom Send Money.
Well, there's no doubt of what his rooting interest is.
He's buckled up. He's got the chin strap buckled up, ready to go for this one.
We were coming up to the press box and noticed him right away. Mike Sinkovich to kick off. Here we go. High deep kick. That's going right into the end zone, and it's touchback. I don't think they think the big guy could knock it that hard. This is a pretty good look. 1st and 10, Shady Side at the 20-yard line. Keep in mind they've had an 84-yard pass play called back, touchdown called back, but even though that didn't result in points, don't think for a second that that is looming over the Mount Carmel defense a little bit.
That's
they know
right.
that full well.
That's right. The Shady Side sidelines, they know that, they're a quick strike offense. They can hit the home run at any time in this ball game. And, you know, believe me, with the skill people they have, they will swing for the fences sometime in this ball game.
We talked about on the one side, Whitey Williams. On the other side, Art Walker, formerly the coach at Mount Lebanon, 206, 74, and 6 over 21 years of coaching, 6 WPIAL titles.
Done for Juro. Slams it forward to the 22-yard line. Tackle was made by Ronnie Lentini, sophomore, 5'11", 165-pounder. Well, Ruggiero is a guy 6'2", 240 mark. I mean, there's nothing subtle about this guy at all. It's just power.
No, Ruggiero, one of the best fullbacks. Brownsville's coach, Bartholomew, said that, hey, he's the best fullback I've seen in many, many years. So, yeah, he's opened some eyes out there in the Pittsburgh area.
Single coverage on Mario Medley off your screen. He's 6'5". Here's Frederick back again, looking. Down he goes. 4th sack of the day for Mount Carmel. 2nd of the afternoon for Dan Daukus, 6'3", 235. Steaming in through the back door.
There's that blind side pressure once again. That is ever so dangerous. And I'll tell you what, Adam Frederick did a good job just hanging on to that ball. Here we see it once again. Frederick has no idea that Daukus is steaming in from that side.
We got to try to get a little bit of isolation over the left side of that line there, because Daukus is just owning the left side and getting in on that blind side every single time.
3rd and 16 for Shady Side. 9:01 left here in the 2nd quarter. They're down 7-0. Frederick, play action. Now delayed handoff for Juro. Mount Carmel worked that out. And a big tackle is made by Mike Sinkovich. And here they come. They're on their feet on the Mount Carmel side.
3 sacks in the game so far for Mount Carmel, and they're really getting it done. And I'll tell you, that battle over there with Daukus against Khalil Bay is unbelievable.
That was Jason Malakowski, 6'4", 260 on the sack. I read the number. He's a big-time player. Has been here for 3-year starter.
6'4", 280. You might command a little respect out there.
It does get your attention, doesn't it? Frederick to punt. Unwinds a 9-iron shot. Takes a Shady Side roll and drops to the 40-yard line. Great field position again. Extracurricular. Mario Medley dropped Mickey Morose to the ground, and the Mount Carmel people want a 15-yard personal foul penalty. No sale, but that's something the officials are going to talk to both teams about. You really got to maintain your poise, Gary. You can't get sportsmanlike type penalties in a situation like this, especially with Mount Carmel dealing with a short field right now. There's Whitey Williams. Individual
battles have no place in this game except within the team structure along the line, and you don't want to get into that kind of unsportsmanlike conduct.
Pitch goes to Veach. Picks his way forward, has 5, has 10, into the secondary, 25-20, and all the way down to the 14-yard line. A gain of 26 yards for John Veach. That's his 3rd big gainer today of over 20 yards. And you just see how coffee quick this guy is to the spot. In the vision again, Mark.
Look at the way he reads that blocking up front. That was an excellent job. He was going to cut it to the outside a little bit, but they found a nice hole inside and took it inside the 20-yard line. And boy, he is one tremendous tailback. Has great vision. Eyes are always up, looking ahead.
1st and 10. Here comes Mount Carmel again. Beach big hole to the outside. 5, touchdown. Mount Carmel, 14 yards, a 2-play drive this trip. All of it, John Veach.
14-yard touchdown run by John Veach for the Red Tornado touchdown.
The left side of that Mount Carmel line is just blowing out. Shady Side right here. Watch this. Left side, by the time he gets to the line, it's already 2 yards in. Everybody's down. Nothing but running room into the end zone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Gary. That left side of the line is just having their way with Shady Side's defensive front. John Veach, he knows what to do with it once they put the ball in his hands.
Sinkovich gets it through there. Quick timeout on the field now with 7:34 to go. 14-0 Mount Carmel. Well, for Shady Side, possibly a patient ER right now, down 14-0, and they are getting run over.
Shady Side expended a lot of energy early in this ball game. We're in the second quarter right now. A lot of energy, a lot of emotion, but right now you're seeing ball control starting to wear them down maybe very early in this game. A little bit deeper Mount Carmel team, a little bit bigger Mount Carmel team, and that ball control, time of possession, wearing out a Shady Side defense.
Well, you can certainly see why Coach Whitey Williams of Mount Carmel says that his offensive line has played extremely well in every game they've been in this year. These guys work tremendously well as a unit. Veach, two plays, 40 yards. Veach, both carries, 13-yard run for the second touchdown of the ball game for Mount Carmel. With a 14-0 lead, second quarter.
Art Walker said this is the biggest, quickest team they will play all year, and so far, his worst nightmares have come true.
You know, John Veach reminds people of his brother in a lot of other ways than just the last name. He has the same type of running style as his brother, but Coach Whitey Williams says there is a difference. Brett Veach, the older brother, is a little bit more easygoing now at the University of Delaware. John is much more intense, very aggressive.
Speaking of John Veach, 12 carries for 91 yards already in the second quarter.
Garris AC. Down at the 20-yard line. There was just nowhere to hide here.
Look at this. Slips right through the wedge, meets the ball carrier head on. That's a good stick. That's a great special teams play right there. Number 28, Al Bailey. 5'10" junior.
Jed, even though we're in the second quarter, you just feel right now like Shady Side has got to answer with some points right here, or this game might be well on its way out of town.
5-yard penalty for the previous spot. A key first down.
Well, I'll tell you what, Art Walker, the head coach at Shady Side, better start putting some fingers in whatever holes are existent right now, because Mount Carmel is on the pedal ready to turn this thing into a blowout.
Art Walker.
Shady Side really needs to mount a drive.
Yeah, Art Walker's trying to think, boy, I can't let this thing get away from me any more than it already has. We've got to get some control back in this ballgame right now.
Frederick, play action. Looking, now throws down the middle behind AC, incomplete at the 29-yard line. Had decent protection. That's good. They'll buy him time with a waggle look, getting out of the pocket that time.
Shady Side with only 22 yards of total offense so far in this football game. And right here again, you see looking downfield, but nothing available. Had a man just threw a little bit high on him. Problem for Shady Side so far is they've not established any kind of running game, and Mount Carmel knows it.
Well, Jason Malakowski, it's, as you mentioned, Gary, 6'4", about 260, 265. You see that come in your vision, you're like,
And you know, Shady Side can run the football. They've got two 1,000-yard rushers in that backfield. So this is kind of new to them, not being able to establish a running game.
Quick hitter, AC. He's across the 20 to the 23-yard line, where he's gathered and dropped.
That's a tough 3 yards.
Talk about total dominance. The first three possessions this afternoon for Shady Side, it's just been 3 and out. And right here, looks like there might be a little bit of running room. That shuts down in a hurry with that red tornado.
Ronnie Lentini, he's only a sophomore. Every time we've done Mount Carmel, there's always seen this group of sophomores that you see on this roster, and you go, no, they're going to be good for a while. That's what happens when you build a tradition of winning like Mount Carmel has had. 3rd and 7. It seems like we've been calling that. Frederick back down the middle. AC heard footsteps. Just a bit too far out in front. Steve Sinkovich in on the coverage that time. It'll be 4th down for Shady Side. 3 and out again. They really had to move the chains.
Yeah, linebacker Steve Sinkovich drops back into coverage, and he's got AC lined up. Good play by the linebacker, Steve Sinkovich.
The mental specter of that front line of Mount Carmel is really weighing heavily right now on Frederick as he's rushing just about every pass he's throwing.
Got another flag that comes down.
Maybe too many men on the field. I don't know if Nick Chesney got off the field in time.
Substitution infraction on the defense. Penalty will be 5 yards. Mark it off the previous spot.
Now, the officials did have a meeting before the kickoff, and I think they were talking possibly about watch for the extra hits, watch for possible infractions, and I think they probably saw a trend with substitution patterns in that opening quarter. So that's kind of a warning now for each. It's 4th and 2 now for Shady Side. Creates possibly an interesting option here, although I'm sure he's going to kick it away. Nick Sebas is deep, standing back at his own 43-yard line off your screen. Adam Frederick. They try tried the late snap, trying to get it to go over. Now he gets it out of there. Takes a Shady Side roll. Pretty good kick under the circumstances to the 45-yard line. But again, Mount Carmel dealing with excellent field position. This is an explosive, high-octane attack. If you give it the short field, you get half 100 hung up on you in a big hurry.
27-yard punt that time. And again, as you said, Jed, setting up with great field position, and Mount Carmel winning the battle of field position throughout the afternoon here thus far.
It's a big, big series defensively for that Shady Side defense right there. They have got to come up with a play, down 14-0 here in the AA championship. Wherever you are in Pennsylvania today, great to have you with us. In AA championships, Nick Sebas, he's explosive. Here's why, inside the 40, all the way down to the Shady Side 35-yard line.
When you've sent the offense off the field 4 times with 3 and out, that means the defense is staying on the field for a lot of plays. We're starting to see the effects
at the end of the play.
And once again, number 58 seals that side with a great block. That's Mike Simkovic as Sebas takes it upfield, uses his speed.
Foul, personal foul on the defense.
Oh boy. Shady Side beginning to lose a little bit of composure now in this ball game. 6:23 to go in this first half of play. Shady Side trailing 14-0. There you see Sebas hit the hole after the great block by Simkovic. He takes it downfield. Now, the penalty is, of course, at the tail end of this play. You get some piling on right there.
3 enemies of a trailing team right now: fatigue, desperation, and frustration. And right now we're seeing desperation and frustration kind of set in a little bit on Shady Side, even though we have 6:23 just to go in the second quarter.
20-yard run by Nick Sebas, 15 yards after that. All the way down to the Shady Side 20. Riding the lead. John Beach putting it to the outside. Bounces like a bumper car to the 18-yard line. Well, right off Matt Van Doren, his own teammate, I believe.
Well, I'll tell you, John Veach looks like he's 100% to me. Suffered a hip pointer in last week's Eastern Final, but they said he got some treatments throughout the week, and he's less than 100%, they said, but playing a whale of a ball game here in the first half, leading Mount Carmel to a 14-0 lead. Veach with one of the touchdowns in his first half of play. 14-yard scamper at the 7:34 mark of quarter number 2.
You saw Clarence Gilcrease and Mario Medley step up quickly there, making a great tackle along the line of scrimmage.
Sebas on a rollout to the strong side. Cuts it upfield all the way down to the 11-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short. Gain of about 7 or 8 on the play. Oh, Nick Sebas, when you have a quarterback that can do this to the strong side of the field, oh, that's very entertaining, and that's extremely tough for a defense to get their keys.
You read my mind. I mean, when you have an athletic quarterback such as Nick Sebas, who is not only strong but fast, good passer, good ball carrier, I mean, he just presents so many headaches for an opponent, the defense. You can't pack the line of scrimmage. He'll burn you through the air. Then if you do drop back into coverage, you're opening up some running lanes for the quarterback.
3rd and 2, Mount Carmel. Handoff Beach, slithers forward for the first down. It'll be goal to go at the Shady Side 7-yard line. One thing about this offensive line that makes it so impressive is they might miss one play, say on the recent Beach run, but they're not going to miss 2 or 3 in a row, and that's what makes them so daunting today.
Look at that blocking up front. Tremendous job. You know, another guy, we haven't called his name much, but I mean, his presence has been felt. That's John Else, 6'1", 280 pounds, and boy, he is a tremendous handful. They call him Uke, as in Euclid coal truck. He's bigger than a bus.
Escaper. Nobody home to the other side. And a touchdown, Mount Carmel. 3 straight possessions. 3 straight trips to the end zone. 20-0. Well, Red Tornadoes, they're aptly named. For Shady Side right now, the insurance people are at the site. It's ugly.
Well, it worked last time. He said, why not try it again? This is touchdown number 3, but right in a row, the second straight time quarterback keeper, the second straight time you dive into the end zone, and another score from Mount Carmel, 20-0, 4:24 to go in the second quarter.
Second of the day already now for Sebas. There you see that shift.
You know, you talked about Euclid, and he basically the first team All-Stater from last year.
That's right.
Snap, and they blocked there.
Chance he might make it again this year?
Coming in on the block was Rich Greer. Well, that's something positive anyway, but the Mount Carmel fans really beginning to smell it. And here's Nick Sebas, trip to the end zone, his second of the day.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, offensive line once again a great job to seal that lane. Nick Sebas uses his speed to get to the end zone once again, his second touchdown of the ball game. And Mount Carmel in control, 20-0, 4:24 to go in this first half of play.
Those 5 plays, 55 yards. That took 2:04.
The idea
football team.
Idea so far for Mount Carmel is keep that defense on the field for Shady Side, pound them a little bit, and it's wearing them out right now.
4:24. There's Whitey Williams. Well, let's go play Art Walker for me a second here, Gary. You're down 20-0. You've been run over the last 5 minutes or so. I mean, what are you trying to do right now?
Well, you're trying to instill a sense of urgency without a sense of desperation in your team, and that's a hard, fine line to walk. And if you're Art Walker right now, I say we just have to get back to what we do well. Let's try to get a score before the end of the half. Just get back in the game. We're not going to do it all at once. We didn't get down all at once. So let's take our time, get a quality drive, and put some points on the board.
Well, an 84-yard touchdown pass wiped out up by a penalty. Think of it, it's just Mario Medley on the short return to the 38-yard line. Oh, Mount Carmel's really playing well right now. That was Ron Lentini again in on the stop for the Red Tornadoes. For Shady Side, they have 3 timeouts to work with and 4:19 worth of clock.
I'll tell you what, if you're a football coach and if you're Whitey Williams right now, head coach of Mount Carmel, you're wondering, well, what can we do to improve upon this second quarter performance? Well, the first quarter was fairly impressive, but they made a couple of mistakes, and that is they put the ball on the floor early. A couple of key fumbles in the first quarter from Mount Carmel. That's one of the things I'm sure that Whitey Williams is going to talk to his team about. No turnovers the rest of the way.
Frederick back, looks down the middle, intercepted by Terry Meyer. The 48-yard line, he underthrew his intended receiver, Mario Medley.
Well, Mario Medley, he draws some attention when he runs his routes. This time, Meyer, the linebacker, drops back into coverage, and he picks off the ball, thrown a little bit behind Medley. Great interception by Meyer.
He and Nick Chesney transferred from Lourdes Regional after Nick Chesney's dad was let go as the head coach after a 3-7 season. Meyer wanted to stick around at Lourdes, and then they were saying some derogatory things, supposedly, about Coach Chesney, and so he joined Nick Chesney here at Mount Carmel. Right now, he's glad he did. He is in Chocolatetown, USA. His team is on the lead, 20-0, and back on offense. First and 10 of the 49. Sebas back again. Now he's going to keep it himself. All kinds of open spaces to the 40. To the 35 and to the 32-yard line, a gain of 17, and this is what you get when your quarterback can run out of the pocket. You create all kinds of different mismatches downfield.
Coming to this game this afternoon, Nick Sebas had 135 rushes for 846 yards, 16 TDs. He's added to that this afternoon, and here's why.
What do you say, Gary? Speed kills. Look at him just beat number 80 to the corner. That is Stuart Ferguson, and Stuart Ferguson's got some speed. He's a very fast linebacker. We've seen him very effective on the blitz in his first half of play, but Sebas just displaying his speed.
Handoff beach, boom, big hole. Has 5, has 7 or 8 more down to the 23-yard line. Well, listen, now another flag goes down, and I think they got Ian Alexander.
Hold up, Chuck.
Let's go down to the field here.
Dead ball fall against Red.
This is going to go against Mount Carmel.
Is it here?
Dead ball fall. Personal foul on the offense. Penalty 15 yards. 27. 27.
Got Matt Van Doren for something in there.
I think he might have uttered a little disagreement in there somewhere. I'm not sure. And officials right on top. I'll tell you what, we've seen great officiating throughout this entire weekend. Hats off to the officials' crews. Let's take a look and see if we can see anything physical here.
That's a big play. There
it is. Maybe an elbow up to the face or something like that.
That happened before, and then
before the camera got there.
Alexander knocked him away. 3:34 to go. Well, again, they have given up some big penalties this year. That's about the only thing Mount Carmel has done to slow themselves down.
Yeah, that couple of first quarter fumbles, and other than that, it's been a picture-perfect first half for Coach Whitey Williams.
Very much. 2nd and 18 now at the 39. Sebas comes under center. Double wideouts. Big shell hammer. Van Dorn is in. Sebas back. Blitz is coming. Has a man. Looks. Intercepted and dropped. Alexander had it in his grasp. Great play on the other end. Chris Cuff, the tight end, turns into a defensive back and saves the possession on this play.
Here you're going to see Sebas take the roll out to the left. Has his intended receiver downfield. That's Chris Cuff, but he slips and falls. And at that point, like you said, Jed, Cuff becomes the defender and does everything he can to knock the ball out of Alexander's hands, and he did just that.
3rd and 18 now for Mount Carmel.
Ian Alexander, 6'3", 210-pound senior. One of the fine running backs for Shady Side. Alexander rushed for over 1,000 yards and 20 touchdowns this season.
Sebas under center. Play action. Blitz is coming. Now they throw it over to the other side. Medley can't hang on, and a sure interception in his grasp at the 45. Good pressure this time from Shady Side. That's a big defensive stand for the Indians. They had to have it there, down 20-0, and they come up big.
You want to talk about a potential of 6. Watch this. Nobody in front. Passes up in the air. If he spears that one, Mr. Medley, he's off to the races.
Yeah, there was absolutely nobody in front of Mario Medley at that point. But did you see the effort by John Beach? Even after that ball's heading to the turf, he's still trying to fight to get that thing.
It's going to be Jarris AC, and his knee touched the ground at the 5-yard line. Once your knee hits, that's it. 3:03 left to go in the opening half. Another marker is down. It's been a penalty-filled opening half here in the championship in AA. Jed Donahue, joined by the coach, Gary Sutton, Mark Shuey, our entire WITF production crew in partnership with the PIAA and the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Going statewide throughout the Keystone State for the first time with all 4 championship games.
So we 5 yards, no, go back to the previous 5.
Officials debating what's going on with this call.
I think they were calling that he waved for the fair catch and then tried to run it.
You're getting 5 yards. That's your ball. It's pre-possession. No.
3:03.
Hang on.
Yeah, what happened was there were 2 men deep.
Invalid fair catch on the receiving team. The penalty is declined. First down.
Here's Mike Melnick, veteran official.
What happened was there were 2 men deep, Booker and Alexander. Booker waved for the fair catch. The other guy actually caught the ball. That's where the infraction.
Watch the ball at the 6-yard line. The Indians take over. 1st and 10, Shady Side.
You know, we were talking about Chesney earlier. Terry Meyer and Chesney both transferred from Lourdes Regional. Chesney's dad moved on to be an assistant coach at Susquehanna. In fact, Chesney with pretty good pedigree too. His brother plays football down at Dickinson. So family that loves football, and a negative situation turned into a pretty positive one for one Mr. Chesney.
Took too much time. I mean, they were just hee-hawing around there. Mario Medley.
That ball foul. Delay a game on the offense. Penalty 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Shady Side's totally out of whack.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you're Art Walker, I would imagine that you just can't wait to get your team into the locker room at halftime, settle this thing down, and try to establish you know, some tempo, calm them down a little bit, because we've definitely seen a little bit of a loss of composure here on the part of Shady Side in the 2nd quarter.
That's the 4th penalty down for 35 yards in the game against Shady Side.
Shady Side won a hair pull from Sharon in the Western Final. Won it with 24 seconds to go. Ruggiero powers his way to the 6th. Gary, when you haven't been in a real wire job all season long, now they were last week, neither of these teams, as we look at Ruggiero and the swarming nature of this defense, how tough is it, say, when you get in this kind of hole for Shady Side and you've been basically riding big leads all year?
Well, your winning margin all year has been like an average of 32 points a game, and so you're used to playing that. You get a certain mentality. And all of a sudden, here's a team that shows up and is playing in the 1st quarter. You say, whoa, 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 what's this landscape? We haven't seen this before. It could be shocking.
Now Carmel's playing single coverage. Long outlet. Medley almost intercepted. Chesney had it right through the wickets. He has 9 interceptions on the season to lead Mount Carmel, and he knows he missed one there with 2:23 to go in the opening half. It'll be 3rd and 10 now for Shady Side.
Well, we talked earlier about Shady Side trying to swing for the fences. Here's one of those home run cuts as they sent Medley on a fly down the left side of the sideline, but ball overthrown, nearly picked off.
You know, you're talking about playing a type of team, Jed, and how you get ready if you've been blowing teams out all year. Mount Carmel on the other side has played in Allentown Central Catholic, you know, a team like South Columbia, you know, teams that have been here in the championships already. They played a tough schedule.
Frederick loads, and Chesney's got the coverage again, and the frustration beginning to mount now for Shady Side. Mario Medley, the intended receiver again.
Frustration has now crossed the threshold into desperation here as Shady Side just throwing it up.
Yeah, here you see the overthrown ball, and now when you say frustration, watch the reaction of the hands are up on Mario Medley, number 88. He is very frustrated at this point. Takes this slow walk back to the huddle, and the Shady Side guys, you know, their heads are down right now, but that's why Art Walker can't wait to get him into the locker room and try to pick this team up a bit.
Frederick 1 for 7 now, passing as he drops back to punt. Gets it high into the air, gets it to turnover. Fair catch, Veach to the 38-yard line. One thing, by not getting a first down, Mount Carmel now with the ball at the Shady Side 38-yard line. 2 timeouts and 2 minutes and 10 seconds to work with. They have all day to get back in there.
Well, right now, if you're Whitey Williams on the other side, you want to say, I don't want to have Art Walker be able to think about anything at halftime. I want to throw the knockout punch right here. 2:10 to go. They've got the ball at the 37, and Art Walker over there trying to make sure his team can maybe stand up one more time and get to the locker room with a chance to play for something in the second half.
Mike Smith into the game at a wide receiver position now, along with Jake Shellhammer. Sebas into the shotgun. He can run as well as pass. This time loading long, got a man wide open. Caught, touchdown, John Veach. 36 yards, and just like that, Mount Carmel has scored again.
Watch this. John Veach is not picked up his entire route. John Veach comes out of the backfield. He lines up in the slot, actually, and Sebas has him the whole way, and nobody in the secondary of Shady Side ever picks up John Veach. Look how wide open he is. Hauls it in at the 5, scampers in, touchdown, John Veach.
They flooded 3 different lanes going downfield, all deep routes, and then crossed a man underneath, and it opened up John Veach right in the middle as the outsides were covered, but the middle was wide open.
Yep.
3 straight routes, straight down the middle of the field. Pick one of them out, and you got a touchdown.
They had 2 wide left, Veach in the slot, and Veach untouched downfield, never picked up at all, and Sebas, perfect pass, hauls it in at the 5-yard line. Then from there on in, it's all John Veach.
Talk about the great eye contact of Sebas. He looks left, sets up the cornerback back there, then came back to the middle and caught Veach right down that lane.
Well, they're drawing up a 2-point play right now, as you see Whitey Williams with his back to you. Well, Mount Carmel, a lot of people believe that they're among the pantheon in the state this year. It doesn't matter about the alphabet soup if you want to go quad through single A. This is definitely, I think, one of the 3 best teams in the state. I don't care what bracket you want to talk about. This has been one of the most impressive performances you could ever see in a state championship environment. I mean, this is a real good outfit. Shady Side, as you look at them, I'm sure they're just shell-shocked from what they've seen.
Well, you know what, Jed? We've been doing the state championships on television since 1993, and many predicted that this would be the jewel of the 4 games this weekend, that this would be probably the tightest and most entertaining of the games this weekend. But that just shows you the power of Mount Carmel on this 1998 team. I mean, you're right. This is one of the most impressive first halves of play I've seen from any state championship team.
Davis on a keeper himself, winds his way forward, and is going to get caught short. Great play for Shady Side, made that time by Ryan Rich to get him from behind. So with 2:02 to go in the opening half, 26-0 Mount Carmel. It's been impressive.
1 play, 36 yards, 8 seconds. Those are the kind of plays you like to draw up as a coach and see work. This is the only time all day this particular play hasn't gone for a score.
That's because they're dealing with a short field from the 2.5. The guy at the 40's got some room to play with.
Coach Whitey Williams is standing there going, darn, we're not perfect today.
Well, they've made a couple of penalties. I mean, any coach will tell you.
Yeah, a couple of penalties.
Interesting luck. Go ahead, Mark.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. A couple of first quarter penalties, but those penalties, if you remember, they occurred very early in the game, and Mount Carmel has more or less overcome those penalties. One penalty took a field goal off the board. So, you know, Whitey Williams settled his team down, and they got the jitters out. Okay, we're in the state championship game. Yeah. And then that has to kind of key up a little bit, but now they're just playing another football game, and they're letting it fly all over the field right now.
But the one thing they've been able to do this afternoon, there's 2 A's. You go out and you attack or you adjust. You want to be in the position where you attack so the other guy has to adjust. And Whitey Williams right now is sitting on the throne.
Still 2 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the opening half. Mount Carmel scoring in less than 30 seconds on that last drive. Here comes Clarence Gilcrease. At the 23-yard line, and then Mike Smith gathers him in from there. Another flag goes down as there's hitting after the bell. See, this is referees.
White, number 80, block in the back.
It's a block in the back, as you heard right there. So that's going to be 15 yards against Shady Side. Talk about an undertow. You're seeing it right here. It's been all red tornadoes. As good as Mount Carmel has been, why are coaches so hard to please? You're up 26-0 right now. You're in firm control. Yet Whitey Williams, I'm sure, can pick 10 or 15 things off the top.
Well, it's a great question, Jan, and the answer is this, that you're always playing your potential. You want to come in and you want to play the best game, and all of a sudden you're playing against yourself right now. If you're Mount Carmel, yeah, you've still got Shady Side out there, but you want to make sure that you show the people what you can do, what the kids have learned during the course of the year. You're still an educator. And at Mount Carmel, it's even a little bit worse because that tradition always haunts you. The Jazz Diminics, the Dan Ficas, all those names still swirl around. And you're out there today with just another edition of a Mount Carmel team that has built such a great tradition over all the years.
Here comes Shady Side on offense. A much fun and passing attack has yet to get out of the driveway today, with the exception of a callback 84-yard run. Ruggiero streams forward to the 19-yard line.
You know, Shady Side, they're used to establishing a running game, and this is their inside punch. Ruggiero is big fullback, one of the nicest fullbacks in the WPIAL, according to many of the coaches. And their outside punch is Ian Alexander, number 7. But neither of those guys have been able to get on track today. Credit to the Mount Carmel defense, a swarming, speedy defense.
Well, the other problem too is all these guys are two-way players, and all of a sudden, all that time on defense may be, you know, hurting them now on offense.
Ruggiero, bang, down he goes. That is a big-time stick by Steve Sinkovich. He's 5'10", 195, but he packs a wallop.
Yeah, look at this out of his linebacker spot. Steve Sinkovich comes up and lays a lick on Ruggiero. And Ruggiero's no small kid. He's 240 pounds, but boy, oh boy, Sinkovich really put him to the turf. When Sinkovich under 200 pounds, but boy, Mount Carmel defenders, they bring a lot of heart to the table too, and that's something you just can't measure on the stat sheet.
That explosion that Ruggiero probably normally has on offense has been expended so many times this afternoon on defense, as with the other players from Shady Side. It's very, very tough now to have that same kind of energy, excitement, and enthusiasm when you're down 26-0 and you're trying to get those legs moving hard on offense. There's determination.
There's a lot of different adjectives that you can use right now.
Determination, despondency.
This is a relatively new team into the WPIAL and really into the PIAA situation. We saw them back in 1995 put on a clinic in basketball across the way here at the Hershey Park Arena. Peter Sauer, who's now playing at Stanford, was on their Final Four team a year ago. Bill Cleona. That was a great ball game.
One of the great teams we ever saw that year. That was another situation where you can take any number of class you want. That team might have been the class of all 4 that year.
They were something. Well, they're the Shady Side faithful going, well, is there a 28-point play in this game? Adam Frederick back again on 3rd and 3. Whirls it forwards, got the first down. That's David Gamcato. Their first down of the day. Granted, they had an 84-yard touchdown pass called back by a holding penalty in the opening quarter.
It's a nice play, kind of like a quarterback waggle, gets him out of the pocket. You got to get away from this aggressive defense, and sent the intended receiver, David Gambatko, on a cross across the middle and picked up the first down.
All right, nice, Gary, when you're sorting through the rubble, you take every little victory that you can get, right, to piece it together at this point. A first down is, it's a start.
Can't get the second first down until you get the first one, so there you go. You got to walk before you can run.
That goes Frederick, under the gun. Throws, pass, dropped by Medley. He's having a tough afternoon getting open, and then when he is open, he couldn't hang on.
Mark brought up a good point a moment ago, where we saw the pocket pass before. We're now seeing sprint outs constantly. Again, buy a little bit more time by sprinting out. We see it here again as Frederick, looking downfield, throws a pretty good pass. Should have probably been caught, but instead dropped, and that's been the kind of afternoon it's been so far for Shady Side.
Medley, a great player, 6'5", 195-pounder. You got to give a lot of credit, too, to what Nick Chesney has been able to accomplish with him. Single coverage. I mean, Mount Carmel not intimidated at all. Garris Acey and also Medley coming in. Much ballyhoo, but Mount Carmel's played him straight up. Handoff for Alexander. Down he goes into a pile of red at the 26-yard line. Malachowski is there. His brother Mike played at Penn State, started there for the Nittany Lions under Joe Paterno.
There you see Alexander trying to take it inside, but nothing doing in the Mount Carmel defense. Yeah, that's one thing that Whitey Williams likes about his Mount Carmel defense is the speed of the secondary, almost essential back there. But this is an extremely fast secondary. And, of course, back there at the free safety spot, you got Nick Sebas, and he's one of the fastest guys in the field as well.
There's your time remaining in the opening half. It's been all MCA, and here they come for the encore. The hurry. Dan Daukus, who has 2 sacks in this opening half. He has just been unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, someone's got to figure out a way to block Dan Daukus out of his defensive end spot. He's coming in on the blind side on quarterback Adam Frederick, and I'll tell you, he is creating havoc back there.
Between Ruggiero and Alexander, they have over 2,000 yards this year for Shady Side. If you want to know how dominating the defense has been for Mount Carmel in the first half, 11 yards between the two.
Domination with a capital D. 26-0. Frederick's going to have to call timeout now. Looks like there's some confusion. Well, they don't carry over into the second half. Might as well know what you're doing here. You don't want to have a disastrous type of play.
Kind of a little-known rule in this
we
point
saw
of the ball game.
The District 3 championship game with Cumberland Valley and Central Dauphin. Go ahead, Mark.
The receiving team, Mount Carmel in this instance, can fair catch the ball and then set up for a free kick, a field goal attempt from wherever they spot the ball at the fair catch point.
Well, 8 seconds to go.
Could this be a situation where as a quarterback you just start to run a little bit and try to eventually put your knee down? Or?
Well, I'm looking out the window where we are. It is a sea of red down here.
Corner to corner.
What a wonderful tradition. 678 wins over the years. Probably, you got to talk about Newcastle. You got to talk about Mount Carmel. 2 of the most storied programs in the state, both playing here in the state championships this year in Hershey.
If you're watching us here on PCN in Mount Carmel, it's good to have you with us. I'm sure there aren't many of you.
Everybody's here.
They're all here.
The great Jazz Diminick, coached at Mount Carmel for 31 seasons. Over 275 victories in that time.
Well, they almost got to Frederick again. That's a 9-iron shot. Bouncing around to the 41-yard line, and that'll end the first half. And they're on their feet on the Mount Carmel side. A gold medal effort in the opening 24 minutes. We have come to halftime with our score. Mount Carmel 26, Shady Side nothing. We'll put some numbers together. Return with third quarter action. Another good halftime stuff after this timeout. Welcome back to the Hershey Park Stadium. All Mount Carmel in the first half, 26-0. Put some numbers up on how they got there. It is resounding. It is something that'll my jaw's on the floor at how good Mount Carmel looked in the opening half. In a big way. Shady Side with just 1 total yard in the opening half. Minus 13 yards rushing. That's a result of 4 Mount Carmel sacks of Adam Frederick. 181 on the ground for Mount Carmel. John Beach, most of it. He had 15 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. Had 1 touchdown catch, 36 yards. Nick Sebas, the quarterback, 10 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was a resounding dunk in the opening half for the Red Tornadoes. Let's look at some of the first half highlights. And Mark, you won't see a football team play much better than Mount Carmel did in that opening half.
No, you won't. Not at all. I'll tell you what, Mount Carmel looked very good, but not early on. They started off and then kind of sputtered. In fact, it was a scoreless first quarter. There you see Veach getting the ball stripped out from him, and that was a fumble on the part of Mount Carmel, one of 2 fumbles from Mount Carmel. Here we're going to see a fumbled punt return as that's Booker looking for some spots, and he'd be best advised just to go down at this point, but he does not. Mount Carmel swarms around the red tornado, pick up the loose change, and then a couple of plays later, we've got our first touchdown of the ball game. We've got Nick Sebas, great quarterback who really drives the bus here for the Mount Carmel offense. Sebas got the red tornado on the board with a 10-yard touchdown mark at the 10-16 mark of quarter number 2, completing a 6-play, 61-yard drive. Later on in quarter number 2, we're going to see the sophomore, John Veach, picking his way through the defense, changing hands. What a great tailback this John Veach is, dragged down from behind inside the 15-yard line, and that set up this touchdown. Here's
He
Veach.
really has a nose for the goal line.
He sure
This is
does.
a great football player and only a sophomore.
Only a sophomore, 14 yards out. Look at that nose for the goal line, and at point, Mount Carmel's up 14-0. Here we go. Sebas again. Nick Sebas has had a whale of a first half out of the quarterback spot. Tremendous speed from this quarterback. Just a real good football player. And Sebas dives into the goal line, giving Mount Carmel the 20-0 lead. And then the half wrapped up with Sebas looking at John Veach, who was not picked up at all by the Shady Side defense. He's wide open downfield. Sebas finds him in stride at the 5-yard line, and John Veach goes in for the touchdown. 4 touchdowns in the second quarter for Mount Carmel, capped off by that Sebas to John Veach pass.
Championship football action in Double-A. Mount Carmel leading Shady Side here at halftime, 26-0. Both teams warming up for the third quarter on a brisk afternoon here in Chocolatetown. Later today at 5, we'll be on at 4:55 to be exact for Central Bucks West, the number 7 team nationally against Newcastle, champion out of the West. Jim Contafio, head coach at Wilson High School here in District 3, is one of our experts helping us kind of sort things out this weekend along with Fort Chapman. Jim, that is as good a football as you can see played by Mount Carmel in that opening 24 minutes. They were absolutely resounding.
They were incredible on both sides of the ball. Total domination on the line of scrimmage. They're skilled people. Veach, quarterback, incredible football game, like you said. They've totally dominated this football game and have taken Shady Side out of it.
Coach, how big of an advantage is it for Mount Carmel to have such an athlete at quarterback as a Nick Sebas? I mean, you can't pack the line of scrimmage and just play the run because he can run so effectively. And then we saw the beautiful pass play to Veach in the final touchdown of the second quarter. I mean, this kid has multi-talents.
Well, you can't stop a mobile quarterback. Just look in the NFL and watching college football. The mobile quarterbacks. Look at Kansas State this year with their quarterback. When you have guys like that that can break containment and get outside, I mean, you saw the bootleg down on the goal line. There was 2 defenders there. He made an inside move outside. His speed took over and got into the end zone. It's invaluable. And if you have a quarterback with that kind of speed and talent, you can go places, especially the Mount Carmel with Veach to back him up and a monstrous offensive line.
Take me into Art Walker right now, the head coach at Shady Side. You've been taken to the cleaners here in the opening half. How do you build confidence back and get back possibly into this game? You've got an aerial attack. I guess you just try and work your way through this.
Well, you talk about the pride factor in the locker room at this point in time. You know, you're down 26-0. I mean, to go in there right now and to think, honestly, you have a shot to come back and win it is very difficult. But what you got to do with your players, you talk about the pride, to talk about the season that they had, and let's forget about what you did the first half. Let's go out the second half and show what kind of heart we have. Last year, we were in a game just like this. We were dominated in the first half by Central Bucks West. We were outclassed in every way imaginable. But the second half, we came out and scored 21 points, made a game of it, and we left that field feeling good about ourselves. And that's the same thing here with Shady Maple today, right? They've got to come out, and they got to go after it, pretend there's no score at all, and play for pride.
All right, Jimmy, you want to step back just a sec? We'll get everybody situated. It's crowded up here.
Yeah, it is today.
A little bit. Mount Carmel, Gary Sutton has rejoined us, so Jim Contafio, stay around for a few minutes here for this. You get the ball to start the second half. Try and make something happen. Sinkovich meets it. It's going to be Jarius AC. AC's a stick of dynamite to about the 29-yard line. Now How impressed are you with the down guys from Mount Carmel? Are they as advertised that you've seen so far?
Everything I've heard about the Mount Carmel people on the line of scrimmage. I was talking from the people from the Pittsburgh area, and they said before the game, if any one of the two teams have an opportunity to blow this game open, it was Mount Carmel because of their size up front. And everything I've heard about them has come true here in the first half.
Coach, you look at a team with a great offensive line like this, so many times you look for them to push the team back 2 or 3 yards. This team's disintegrating the other team's line in 2 or 3 yards.
I mean, they're doing everything they have to do on the line of scrimmage. They're penetrating when they have to, and they're really getting after it.
Pass complete to Alexander, and down in a pile at the 30-yard line he goes. Tackle is made for Mount Carmel. Ronnie Lentini, only a sophomore.
Well, that's a tough 1 yard. This is only a 1 yard pickup as Frederick finds his receiver, and that's Alexander. Alexander, an offensive threat throughout much of the year, but a 1 yard total offense for Shady Side in that first half of play. So none of their offense is getting on track, whether it's Frederick, whether it's Alexander, whether it's Gary. I mean, they've got some good skill people back there, but this Mount Carmel defense just bottling them up.
Ruggiero, the lone setback. Frederick back again under the gun. Down he goes. Malachowski's got him to the 24-yard line. How about the spacing of the Mount Carmel defense, Jim? Is that something that Frederick's having all kinds of problems figuring right now? I mean, they seem to be in every gap.
Well, right now, what's happening from tackle to tackle, whether it's run or pass, Mount Carmel's getting tremendous amount of penetration. And there's no way, I don't care how good a passing football team you are, if your quarterback cannot get back there and set up and throw in rhythm, he's not going to have a good day here. And what's happening is up front, from tackle to tackle, they are moving, picking gaps, slanting, coming after you. It's not that they're bringing linebackers a lot, but they're front 5. They're doing the job.
Matt Van Doren into the game now to quarterback position. Frederick on 3rd down, rolling now, running for his life, throws a wounded duck out of bounds. Again, the blitz was coming. But the reason they're able to do this again is, we'll look at this play. Mark, you can take us through the replay, but 3 and out.
I think we just saw an example of the active tackles. Here's Sinkovich. Mike Sinkovich just collapses the line right away and is in on the pocket almost immediately. These guys are real active up front.
Jim playing man-to-man coverage, too. That's been a big key to this game. They have had no qualms about putting one-on-one out there.
It's amazing when you look at the size of the wide receivers from Shady Side compared to the DBs from Mount Carmel. I mean, we're looking at a 5, 6, 7-inch difference. But those guys from Mount Carmel, they are not intimidated by no means.
Wind beginning to kick. Frederick right off the side of the foot. 9-iron shot out of bounds. And they're going all the way up to the 33-yard line. Well, when you know you almost have to be perfect to deal with Mount Carmel, giving them this kind of short field. It's a lethal situation.
You're in a 4-down situation right now. Here's where the nail goes in the coffin. If Mount Carmel puts this touchdown in, this game could be a 50-0 whitewash here right now, because the tents are going to be full with Mount Carmel.
That was a 7-yard punt, by the way. And this wind is a factor right now. It has really picked up from the second quarter on.
Handoff Beach. Boom. Big hole has 5. Has 10. It's a foot race to the 5. Touchdown, Mount Carmel. John Beach in again for his 3rd touchdown. This one from 32 yards away. It's all Red Tornado now. 32-0, and number 25 is the real deal.
Watch this power, just pulling away at the end. He has it by the shoulders. Not going to have it. I'm going for the end zone, and that's all there is to it.
That there right now is giving Mount Carmel the largest difference in games. We were looking over the records, in Bishop McDevitt won 28-0 a few years back, and now we're up 32-0.
Sinkovich is on for the extra point, and his kick is up, and it is no good. He pushed it wide right. 32-0. Maybe we can see that touchdown again. You get an idea just of how dominant they are. Jim, take me through this. Where are the...
Well, a little toss sweep, some great blocks, and there's the difference in an average athlete and a great athlete. He made the dip inside, he got outside, and he bet everybody. But you can see, look at the leg strength on him being able to put away from that arm tackle. That kid there we're going to read about for a long time.
That's what work in the weight room will do for you right there.
People don't understand how important the lower body is. We sometimes look at the upper body, and that we see more often. But from the waist down is what makes the difference between a good player and an average player.
Jim, at Wilson or at any school, your off-season program, that is the big season now, isn't it? Almost?
You have to. That's where games are won and lost. And I know at Mount Carmel with Whitey, They run a great off-season football program. And when you're having success like they are, it's not very difficult to get kids in the locker room to work out.
Look at this, Mark. 1-play drive, 1-play drive, 5-play drive, 2-play drive. Here's a lengthy one. That one, 252, 6 plays.
Well, when you got great athletes like they do right now, they can break things open here, which they have.
It's going to be AC again. Trying to find a seam, picks his way across the 30 to about 34. This would be about the best starting point for Shady Side in a while. There's some of the Mount Carmel faithful now. 9:57 to go in the third quarter.
But if you see him here right now, Jed, he's picking his way. He's not very aggressive. He's not trying to get upfield. He's trying to look for something, and he's not getting after him. Mount Carmel's getting after him.
With winning traditions, is it easier to sell a message like a Mount Carmel here?
Oh, you better believe it. Just look at these people here right now. They'll tell you what kind of tradition they have. These kids play with emotion, and when these fans get after it, they play even better.
Adam Frederick right into the line. Our WITF production crew in partnership with the PIAA and also PCN. You get feel for the banging up front. It's been a dominant performance for the red and white here. Mark, you and I have done all three of the Mount Carmel trips. This looks to be the best of the three.
Well, yeah, we were talking in the booth at the half, and there was discussion that this could be the best Mount Carmel team that we've seen in a long, long time, including the state title teams of 1994 and 1996.
It's got a young nucleus, too. I mean, they're going to lose a lot of important cogs, but Frederick just ducking underneath now to the 38-yard line.
Well, guys, what's become very apparent is you never want to play Mount Carmel in an even-numbered year. They've never lost really a state playoff game yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to start today. So 1998, it's not over yet, but appears to be well on its way to being the charm for Mount Carmel.
What makes Whitey Williams such a successful coach, do you think, Jim? I mean, I know you know him from Big 33 a lot. I mean, this is one of the pantheon guys around. I mean, this big-time look here.
You have to give Whitey a lot of credit. He took over a legend in Jazz Dimnick, and to come into Mount Carmel, there were a lot of doubters just a few years ago. But what he has done in this short time period has been tremendous with his kids in his program.
Frederick
and they believe in
middle.
it.
Medley, nice catch to the 45. Mario Medley's first catch of the day. That was a nice grab. Cobra grips to the 45.
You know, that catch may give Medley a little bit of confidence. He was obviously discouraged in this first half of play. Here we saw him with his hands on his hips, head down. But right there, Medley goes out, gets the ball, nice crossing route. First down for Shady Side. Okay, it gets the jitters out a little bit. Yeah, they're behind on the scoreboard, but hey, they're moving the football right now. And let's just walk before we run.
Frederick back again, overshoots his intended receiver, that being Ian Alexander.
Coach, when you're working with receivers, and I know you've done a lot with passers and receivers over the years, how do you get them used to catching the ball in traffic like that in a drill type situation?
Well, what you got to do is obviously you got to spend a lot of time in the off season, in particular over the summertime. There's an awful lot of bag drills that you can use, distraction drills, hands in your face kind of drills that teach kids to concentrate on the football. But there's nothing like the real action of being out there in the game to get better at it.
In the third quarter, 32-0 Mount Carmel. Frederick back again, little quick opener. Oh my goodness, Ian Alexander got crunched.
I think that was a drill you were talking about right there.
Well, I mean, what's happening right now when you got DB smacking you like the Mount Carmel guys? This game reminds me of when Penn State played the University of Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. Penn State had those little DBs, but every time Miami caught the ball, they got smacked. Same thing's happening here today. You can see those wide receivers for Shady Side looking over their shoulder because they know they're going to get hit on every play.
Now they're inside their head a little bit as a result of that with the physical contact. 32-0. It's 3rd and 10 now. Shady Side. Back goes Frederick. He's hanging in there, an old gunslinger, and it's almost intercepted by Steve Sinkovich. Well, the two Sinkovich brothers, both seniors, twins, and here they are.
You've got to feel
state championships.
Got to feel horrible if you're Shady Side right now. Everybody in the world knows you're going to throw every down, and the Mount Carmel kids just teeing off.
This is fun time for the Mount Carmel people. You know what's going to be neat about this football game? There's a lot of guys on the Mount Carmel sideline that are going to get a chance to play in a state championship game, and normally you don't see those things happen.
Don't be surprised if you see a fake somewhere along the line with a quarterback back there. Actually being 10 or 15 yards away from that line of scrimmage would be a bonus. He's going to put it up there in the air. Good kick. Their catch called for by Veach at the 10. They didn't give enough room. You like the 2-yard rule that they've kind of implemented this year? I think that's what the violation is.
I think you have to have it. You've got to give the receiver a clear path to catch the football. That was a tough one there.
We go to...
White captain.
That's Mike Melnick.
Got invalid fair catch. Invalid fair catch. If you take the penalty, we roll back and mark off 5 more yards. Decline it. Decline it.
He didn't give a clear side on the fair catch.
We have an invalid fair catch by the receiving team. Penalty is declined. First step.
Yeah, it looks like the punt team gave these guys gave Veach ample room to field that ball, but Veach did not clearly signify for a fair catch. That was the call there. You look at Art Walker. Tough day for Art Walker. Had a touchdown called back due to a holding penalty, an 84-yard bomb from Frederick to Booker. And all for naught. Came back. That was the first quarter. That would have been a 7-0 lead, Shady Side, at that point.
I felt the air really leave there. Go ahead, Gary.
6W PIAA championship for that guy ties with Ball of Newcastle, and we'll see Newcastle in action a little bit later tonight.
Coach Jim Cantafio, head coach of Wilson High School. Coach, how tough is it if you're Art Walker and Shady Side and you get a touchdown like that called back? You know, a big home run ball, 84 yards, and that comes back. I mean, that's got to be a tough blow. It is
major demoralizing. It really is like a dagger in the heart at that point in time. People don't understand how important momentum is in high school football, as it in any other sport. But in high school football, teenagers have a tendency to get down after big plays like that, and it's exactly what happened.
Al Bailey, second, third effort, pounds forward, close to a first down to the 24-yard line. He's right at the stick. He's got it. Now Carmel just moving the chains methodically, so nothing subtle about this. Going to do it right between the tackles.
And you know, Whitey's going to do that here right now with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter with a comfortable lead. You're not going to see Mount Carmel do anything real fancy. They're going to take care of their big, strong kids. And why not give the ball to Veach and company, let the quarterback run some rollouts. Those kids are tremendous athletes. There's no need to do anything else.
They're getting a look at some of the hitting after the whistle. That's one of the things that both coaches have to control. I mean, you know, yeah, Shady Side's frustrated, and some of that frustration may come through. And Mount Carmel, they're all jacked up, leading 32-0. So you got to kind of put a damper on the kids' emotions at this point, because there's a lot of football to play.
You win with class and you lose with class, and you got to learn to keep your mouth shut out on the football field, regardless how things are said. Sometimes when you get a big lead, you tend to talk a little bit too much, and defensively you're frustrated and you talk also, but you got to keep your mouth shut. Understand this is the greatest game of their life, and they'll remember this game, so let's not end it on a bad note.
Double wide to one side, right off top of your screen there for Mount Carmel. Action and open set. Bailey on the carry again. You hear all that banging in there. One thing I've noticed about Mount Carmel, their offensive line, just the tempo they have. When they really get into a groove, it's like they can't wait to get back to the line of scrimmage again.
Well, you know, I was looking at their stats earlier on their height and weights, and I'm looking out there, and I'm looking at them saying, my God, they're a quad A football team when it comes to their physical stature. The thing to worry about here, because Mount Carmel now will play everything close to vest, things start to get a little bit carried away, and Shady Side will be stacking the line of scrimmage, and you sometimes get frustrated and the game gets out of hand, and it turns ugly because of that, because you get out of your normal game plan.
Sebas, quick handoff to Veach. There's that strength Jim was talking about. Still, you know, got back to the original line of scrimmage, avoids the loss. Gary?
Coach, so many people are watching a game like this right now, and it's 32-0. You're pretty sure if you're a Mount Carmel fan, you're going to win this one. Do you get into kind of a weird sense where you're trying not to run it up, and yet you're trying to let your kids play a little bit? How do you handle that right now?
That is the most difficult thing in high school, because coaches get so caught up in that. And you're exactly right. Mount Carmel now will not play their normal game plan. And what's going to happen is they're going to have problems like that. Do I throw the ball? Do I run the ball? And you know what? My feeling is play the game. You got third down and long. Why not throw it? Because I think that's more of a setback for the other team when you're taking a knee and you're not trying to do anything. But that's an area where a lot of us get caught up. And if you're fortunate to have a team that's that overpowering, it's not a good position to be into. But at the same time, you do not want to rub it into the opposing coach.
sometimes you got us in the media going, oh, you're running it up on them.
Well, in college football, you know, they don't have to worry about that. They can score 100 points a game and no one's going to say anything because their second and third teamers are very good players also.
By the way, nice 48-yard punt there by Mount Carmel.
Adam Frederick still in there pitching. This Alexander trying to get to the corner. Did to the 30. 35. Head down. Good run by Alexander. He's a 6'3", 210-pound quicksilver slasher, Mark.
I'll tell you what, you got to give Alexander a lot of credit on this run because towards the end of the first half of play, he was kind of tentative as he was hitting the holes. That's because he was taking a tremendous punishment through the first half. Now, he turns the corner. Now, look at this. He puts his head down, and he just goes for that extra yardage. That's a nice, tough run by Ian Alexander after he's taken a lot of punishment this afternoon.
I mean, he's a talented athlete, and I'm sure will be a fine college football player. I don't know if it'll be in the running back position, but there's going to be a place for him somewhere out on that football field.
He looked through the back there. Ian Alexander. Ruggiero, no room in the end at the line of scrimmage. May have lost a yard. It just gives you an idea. Jason Malakowski, Jim was talking about just this looks like a Division I line. Well, here's how it plays out right here.
Right in the backfield.
That's Chris Cuff right there. He's a lightweight at 225.
Look at Whitey Williams got a smile on his face there after watching.
That's sort of nice with 3 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the third quarter where you can be relaxed on the sideline in a state championship game.
You sit on pins and needles all week long.
Believe me, he was, too.
And, not too many coaches have that feeling that Whitey Williams has right now. Most of these games are very tight.
Yeah, especially with 3:43 to go in the third quarter, you don't have that feeling. We're all warriors by nature, right, Coach?
You better believe it. It's not an easy game out there. Those Mount Carmel fans are vocal, too.
Mike Sinkovich and Alexander exchanging pleasantries after the run. You just want to make the officials, I think, really getting a good handle, trying to keep tempers a little quieter here.
You know, we talked about Whitey Williams, and Jazz Diminick is the one that actually suggested that Whitey Williams take the job when he was actually looking elsewhere.
You know, a lot of people wouldn't even apply for the Mount Carmel job because they didn't want to have to take over over Jazz. I know Jazz quite well, and he's a class in. As a matter of fact, he's still coaching football.
Actually, an assistant coach right now with one of his former players.
Frederick looking for AC. It's intercepted. This Matt Van Doren, he's had a heck of a football game, special teams, defensively, playing single coverage today. That has been one of the keys to why they've been able to really sell it out. Now we've got some extracurricular. It's a fight on the field, all kinds of flags.
53 is... Wait a minute.
You hate to see this.
Red. No. 50 red, 57 white. Wait a minute. 57 red. No, 50 red. 50 red. 57 white. 57 white. And 7 white.
Ian Alexander's just been tossed.
Matt Fugger is going to be out of the game for Mount Carmel, number 50. And that's what you were talking about earlier, Coach, allowing your frustrations to kind of go over into some individual battles.
Yeah, we still got a lot of football to go here right now. We don't need this at this point in time, but, you know, they're young and they're high school football players, and sometimes their emotions get the best of them, and hopefully that will not continue the rest of the game.
58.
Okay, they're tossing Mike Sinkovich.
Mike Sinkovich
58.
out of the game.
There he is with a lab flag.
7.
It's not the way you'd want your career to end, I don't think.
No, I mean, you want to play the game till the end. You want to be out there as long as you possibly can. It's not a good way to end it here right now, but...
52.
And I believe Ian Alexander is going to get tossed as well for Shady Side.
2 guys off the 3 and 7 are out of the game. Right, okay.
Well, this is a mess. Mike Parker has just been tossed. He's a center.
I got a penalty here now. These are dead balls.
Now we're going to start marking it off.
Okay, hold it. Come here.
There is no need to see a replay if anybody's thinking that we're going to show that. I just don't want to promote the bad sportsmanship.
There's Ian
Part
Alexander.
of it take away.
Wait. Okay.
And there was a number of times during the course of the game where words were being exchanged.
Yeah, you saw this coming.
Yeah,
mean,
you
this
did.
was...
the offense,
You did.
that penalty is declined. Red ball. Now we have 3 dead ball
You only
fouls,
can
which
hope
will
between
mark
now
off.
and you keep things under control, and let's end the game with class.
You've got to love the way the officials have worked together this
Now,
weekend,
hold
though. I
up.
mean, in football, it seems like it's maybe as good as any sport that we have, where they get together here and kind of sort it all out.
Well, you know, it's an honor to get here as a football official as much as it is to be a player. And these officials are going to call things close to vest. And I think they're doing a fine job out there keeping things under control.
Boy, they really had a powder keg on their hands there. Well, Parker and Alexander, both seniors, embracing. It's just despair that starts to set in at this point for Shady Side. Still 2:44. Here we go.
We've got 2 personal fouls against white, 1 personal foul against red.
This is like an episode of Law and Order. You just go to the courtroom, put the font up, and where are we going next?
It's like the NFL. Walk 15 one way, walk 15
First
the
down,
other
red.
way.
Let's settle down, boys.
I'm sure Whitey Williams does not want to see this happen, and sort of puts a tarnish on the state championship. You've got to be careful here. You want to end it and have fun in the game.
Well, the message has been set for the remainder of the game anyway.
And Mike Melnick's got a short rope now, the lead official.
Yeah,
all right.
The wick just got trimmed.
Fumble by Sebas. That's about a 7 or 8 minute delay there. 2nd and 10 now as the loss takes it back to the 49. Be second down, about 14 officially. 32-0, Mount Carmel out in front. One of the issues we were talking about last night, Jim, is there's some talk about a 5A classification.
I think it's going to happen.
Do you?
I think it's definitely going to happen right now, and there's definite need in the state of Pennsylvania. The numbers in the Quad A division is like 1,000 boys difference from top to bottom.
Mark's working some numbers up. Here comes Sebas. This guy's only a junior, steps out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
I'm just looking down the scoring for Mount Carmel. 4 second quarter touchdowns, rather. I'll tell you, what an offensive machine, and it's been ignited by quarterback Nick Sebas as well as John Veach, the fine sophomore tailback. Sebas has 1, 2, 3 touchdowns. He threw a touchdown to Veach as well, and Veach has scored 2 more on the ground. So, I mean, the offensive show is centered around Veach and Sebas on the stat page. But, boys, the guys up front really have done a nice job opening up nice holes and giving Sebas a lot of protection in the pocket.
3rd and 12, Mount Carmel into the game. Nick Sebas at a wide receiver position. Throwing is Al Bailey for Sebas. Dives to the 19, and he can't hang on. That would have brought the house down.
Oh, I can't keep myself under control. I mean, 32-0, and they put the quarterback in motion on that. They had him wide open down the sideline. That's awesome.
Now,
I couldn't believe I saw it, though.
You're standing on the other side of the field. You're Shady Side. I guess you probably can't be real amused right here.
We just talked about this.
Yeah.
You know, how do they take it on the other side of the ball?
Here's that fine line.
There's that fine line. You're right.
Who started to break us? Maybe you throw a little gadget play.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think, you got to play the game out and let the chips fall where they may.
Sinkovich. This Jarris AC. Flag is down, a block in the back.
Well, you have a great athlete at quarterback when you send him in motion as a design play downfield, and he almost made a miraculous catch on the ball. The ball thrown by Al Bailey was just a little bit underthrow, but Nick Sebas almost came back and made a diving catch on that.
I wonder if they ran that play all year long or whether it was put in here for this game, and I guess he wanted to take a look at it before he got too much away.
Here's the clip.
We have a post-possession foul, a clip on the receiving team, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Looking at Mount Carmel next year, most of their skill guys are back, but all their down guys, I mean, it's going to be a reloading time, but it's great having your skill guys back. But how tough is it, Jim, when you're rebuilding a line is the most difficult thing a coach can do?
You need the people up front to get to the state championship and win it. You can have all the skilled people you want. I know that because I've had them. But you got to have from tackle to tackle if you ever expect to get back here and get it done again.
Kind of you drive for show and putt for dough. You need the big fellas up front.
You better believe it. You got to have them or you're not going to get to this stage in the game.
Now they're closing out. And really, you look at an embarrassment of riches. All senior leadership that had state experience 2 years ago, you almost, if you're lucky to get this kind of look, maybe 3 times in your coaching career, aren't you?
This is an incredible run. To get here one time, you're extremely lucky. To get here 3 times and have this opportunity is an incredible dream come true for everybody associated. But when you're here, you just keep wanting to keep coming back because it's a great experience.
And Art Walker at Shady Side, he had 8 offensive starters and 6 defensive starters, I believe, returning from last year's club. So, you know, the expectations were high at Shady Side coming into this year. Here they are at the state championship game in Hershey.
It's tough to take. Getting here is so difficult. Winning, it's the greatest feeling in your life. But when you lose the game, and I had that opportunity back in '91 to get to this point in time and not win the state championship game, and you're sort of numb afterwards, and you tell yourself, when are we ever going to get back here? So when you get here, you got to let it all hang out and do the best you can and hopefully be able to pull it off, because you may not ever get there again.
Yeah, and plus it's such a long build to get here. It's about a 20-week journey, and you guys are together the whole time. You finally get here, and then, like you said, if you lose, it's got to be very disappointing.
Frederick running for his life, throws it away. They're wanting intentional grounding, but there are a couple of shirts.
Not at this point.
Getting greedy.
I don't think they're satisfied with 32-0 right now. But Shady Side has to kick from the end zone, so Mount Carmel has a great opportunity here to put another touchdown on the board.
Coach, when you look at a program like Mount Carmel, certainly the program's great, the tradition's great, the kids are wonderful, and you need talent. What is it that makes a coach great? Obviously, Whitey Williams is going to step into that theater this afternoon with his 3rd championship. What are the little things that make a coach great?
Well, number one, you have to be a people person. You've got to be able to communicate with administration and parents and all the people around you. Number 2, there's perseverance. You got to be able to take the heat and the pressure from everybody around you. And number 3, you got to be a totally committed and dedicated coach to ever even think about getting to this level of football. And Whitey Williams is all of the above.
Huge block. Sebas steps out of bounds at the 24-yard line. And you better have an understanding family because of the time that it takes.
Well, I hate to say it, in coaching, if you look at the divorce rate for coaches, it's pretty high. And it's because, like you said, you have got to spend so much time in preparation. You've got to spend so much time in the off season. During the season, some people don't have an idea. Your Saturdays, your Sundays, everything is taken up.
One other thing, too, though, Coach, the little things. The little things seem to separate the great coaches from the good coaches. Everybody does the big things. What are the little things that a Whitey Williams does that other coaches don't do?
Well, sometimes I think it comes down to your players believing you as a father figure. You know, the little things where you go out of your way to help kids. You go out of your way to get kids into college. You know, you go out of your way to help kids that might have some troubles. So those are the kinds of things that you get the kids to believe in you and to believe in your system, because if you've got them where they believe in you, they're going to play that much harder. They're going to play their hearts out for you, plus their communities. But I think what's important in Mount Carmel, winning and football are so important in the community of Mount Carmel. These kids are playing for the people in the stands here right now because it's just important for them and it is for them.
That's what high school football separates it maybe from the other sports professionally. The name on the front, not the back, is what matters. Beach, good cutback move to the 17.
I'm sorry, Coach, but yeah, you mentioned, Coach, the importance of football within a community, and that was highlighted by some of the folks from Allentown Central Catholic, which are a great program in the state in itself. They went to the Silver Bowl. They played a game in Mount Carmel and won this year, and the players, coaches alike said on the bus ride on the way, and they just could not believe how rabid these fans were. Signs in the windows, banners on homes, you know, railings decorated in red and white. And they said throughout the town, the rabidity of the Mount Carmel fan it was unbelievable, and that kind of ties the community and the team together.
I grew up in the coal region. I know what it's like. I remember when the Eastern Conference was the granddaddy of them all. I mean, back in the early 70s and 60s, the Eastern Conference of high school football, it was a tremendous conference, and that was it. So, you know, I know what it's like to be in the coal region. I know how the people get involved there and get solidly behind your football program. It's a great experience, and having coached in the coal region 3 years ago, there's no difference. There's such a big difference. The people there just believe in it, and it's a way of life.
When you marry the community and the football team, you've really got something special, don't you?
You can't believe it. I was telling some of the guys here, and last year when I was at Wyoming Valley West, and we had the great season, and when we upset Berwick, we had a parade in town until 2 o'clock in the morning. We never got back to our locker room with our uniforms on. Guys, that's the way it is in the coal region. We were like, we had a ticker tape parade. They stopped in town. It was incredible. You don't see that too many other places.
Well, throughout Pennsylvania, isn't that the way it is when you win a championship in any small community? There's more of an appreciation because there is that sense of community as opposed to, you know, a jointure type system.
You walk to Mount Carmel, and the people of Mount Carmel will look at you and say, I'm from Mount Carmel, and that makes a big difference.
Nick Sebas, we got 3rd and 4 at the 17-yard line. Pitch goes to the outside, and it is going to be Al Bailey. Want to remind you, the PIAA presenting this AA championship game in association with the Pennsylvania Cable Network. We're going statewide, live for the first time this year, as you see Al Bailey. And he's caught for a loss. That's one of the few negative plays of the year, this game anyway, for back to the 24. Numbers, Gary, real quick through 3 quarters.
Well, very simply, 289 yards for Mount Carmel, 28 for Shady Side. We don't need to break it down a whole lot except to say that on Shady Side, the rushing game never got established. -5 for the afternoon. 33 yards passing, not a lot better, but one led to the other.
Well, we talked it earlier. You don't win a state championship in Pennsylvania unless you can run the football.
Sebas. Play action, lugs, throws, got a man. Bailey slams forward to the 10 and a first down for Mount Carmel. Well, they needed about 12 and ended up getting that job done.
Well, Coach Jim Cantafio just highlighted the importance of being able to run the football throughout the year. Shady Side has been able to run the football. They've had 2 1,000-yard rushers, James Ruggiero and Ian Alexander. Today, Ruggiero and Alexander combined for 10 carries for a total of 10 yards.
Domination.
That's total domination on the line of scrimmage, gentlemen.
Big time. I have a good question for you here, Jim, coming up after this play about tradition and exactly what it means. Mount Carmel, of course, has one built in. Shady Side building one of their own as Veach carries. You see that strength struggling to the 11. You know, you talk about Coal Region football or Mount Carmel. A lot of programs that don't have that tradition, sometimes their best athletes are still in the hallway and you don't have them out on the field.
Well, if you go to Mount Carmel, you go to a Schuylkill Haven, and you go to a Southern Columbia, those small teams, every kid that can play the game of football is out for football. If you go to some of these other big districts that don't have the tradition, you can walk the hallway, and there's bigger and stronger kids in the hallway that are not out there on the football field. They're not willing to make that commitment because it's not that important in their community. But in the small communities of the Coal region, if you can walk and talk, you're going to play football. And in Mount Carmel, that's the way it is.
There you see a personal foul call. As that's Ruggiero coming over and grabbing the face mask on the way down.
Al Bailey, touchdown, Mount Carmel, with 10:15 to go in the game. It's 38-0, Red Tornado.
Was it George Bailey that said it's a wonderful life? I guess Al Bailey's saying I got a little slice of that too right now as he puts one in the books and a story to tell your grandchildren later on.
Oh, there's no doubt 20 years down the road he's going to remember that, Kerry.
Yeah, the game and the experience that you have only grows more significant as years do go by.
Well, you have to have that experience, and Mount Carmel has it on all sides of the ball. Their coaching staff has been through so much over the years and in preparation that is so valuable getting ready for a game like this.
Sebas trying the extra point. Or not Sebas, but Jack, a freshman.
Yeah, keep in mind, Sinkovic, their normal point
right, he got
kicker,
tossed.
he got kicked out of the game. So, yeah, they're going to the backup kicker right now.
38-0, Mount Carmel.
Coach, in kind of a distorted way, you know, you get into a state championship game and you get waxed, as opposed to getting beat by 1 or 2 points or something like that. Is there any comfort in that, or do you go back to the drawing board right away and say, where did we go wrong?
No, there isn't any comfort in it. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's all part of growing up and becoming a man. You just got to accept that there are going to be days where things go our way, and there are going to be days that they don't. And this is a learning experience. For the underclassmen, hopefully it'll be a motivation for them to come back and work even harder to get ready for next year, and for the seniors to go on to college to let them know no matter how good you are, there's always somebody out there a little bit better.
Mercy rule now in effect. What is it, 35 points, and then it's a rolling clock?
Right now we have the mercy rule
Right,
into
that's
effect.
what I was saying,
Okay, that
but-
means the clock now will not stop except for a change of possessions.
With the ball is Clarence Jackson. Jackson tried to get to the corner and does with 37 seconds to go.
Coach, I think I know what you're going to say to this. What do you think of the mercy rule going into effect this year?
I do not like the mercy rule, and I know a lot of coaches don't. I'll tell you why. Number one, you have a lot of young kids, JV football players, that work hard and get the varsity ready to play. And you know, when you are lucky enough to have a team that's talented and get ahead, those JV football players look forward to playing in that fourth quarter. I remember when I was in high school and I was a sophomore and I got in the last 3 minutes of the game, that was the highlight of my weekend. Well, now you can't even do that because it'll go so fast you can't get kids into the game.
Frederick, double handoff. This is Booker, long pass, Medley, got it, and it's a touchdown. Medley, 63 yards, no flags.
That's one of those things you go back and say, at least we didn't get shut out.
This is a heck of a play right here. This is Booker, who has an 84-yard touchdown that was wiped off by a holding penalty. Showing pretty good arm here.
That was nice play by Booker, too. Booker just waited till the receiver outran the coverage, and he lofted a nice throw. 63 yards for Shady Side's first score of the ball game. Nice bit of sportsmanship we saw at
Boy,
the end
didn't
there,
you
too.
see that, too? I hope we can catch that coming back up. The two guys arm in arm saying, hey, nice try, but I beat you that play.
Right, the Mount Carmel player and, of course, Medley of Shady Side.
Ashley Bauer's kick is good. Well, that's play right there is why a lot of the Division I guys like Medley's ability. He's got size at 6'5".
Yeah, he definitely has the size to be a big-time receiver. I think the one thing they're going to question, though, does he have the all-and-out speed to be a big-time wide receiver? And that is yet to be seen. It's very difficult to tell how fast he really is out here today.
You know, a lot of people will say, well, you know, they don't realize how big and tough each level gets as you go up the ladder, so to speak. Big-time college football and then, you know, the ultimate one in the NFL. These guys are just huge and quick.
You've got to be able to run a sub 4.5 40-yard dash to have any shot on the Division I football level. Most top Division I wide receivers are running 4.3 40s and 4.4 40s, and they can really turn it on. And if you can't play on that level. That's just the way the game has become over the years.
Coach, how much pressure is there on a Whitey Williams to continue to be a custodian of the tradition, so to speak, in Mount Carmel?
Incredible. I mean, people don't understand it. Winning here today just brings on more and more pressure, because if you don't get back here next year or you don't win your league, people are going to say, what's happening? What's wrong? Are you losing your touch? Look at Joe Paterno. How many people are questioning Joe this year? Has he lost his touch? He's only going to play in his 8th straight New Year's Day bowl game, but has he lost his touch? So unless you win it year in and year out, the people in the stands here will always have questions on your effectiveness.
Well, the ball flew off the tee. By the way, that touchdown by Medley unplugged the mercy rule. So
No,
this under
no.
35,
Once the
it does
mercy
not?
rule starts, it does not stop.
Oh, it
So in
does
other
not?
words,
Okay.
once it goes into effect, it's in effect for the rest of the game.
I believe Shady Side's going to have to kick it again.
Ball blew off the tee.
Yeah.
Right as he hit it.
They're going to say, kick it again.
Jed, going back to that mercy rule, we had a game this year here where we had the mercy rule at halftime. The second half took a grand total of 18 minutes.
18 minutes?
Oh, my goodness.
It went by so fast, it's like you never were even out there. The clocks never stopped, really. It took, obviously, 24. But the point is, within a half hour, you were off the field.
The one question I'd have, too, is what does that do for records? I mean, you know, you look at all the records in state championships and so forth. I mean, it does tend to skew those a little bit.
Well, you know, the games that you saw, people rush for 450 yards, total offense is 600 yards. All of those are gone because, you know, JVs would come into the game and accumulate an awful lot of yardage.
It's in midair. Aaron Ziegler is going for a Mount Carmel touchdown. 60 yards on the catch on the onside kick. It's a rare play that you don't see every day. 50 yards officially. Touchdown, Mount Carmel. It's 44-7.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone take one like that in the air and just go. It's like he says, this is my moment. Here it comes.
Well, just about everything that good that can happen to a football team has happened to Mount Carmel today, including taking an onside kick back 60 yards the other way for a touchdown.
When was the last time you saw that?
Oh.
The 1975 Cotton Bowl, Baylor and Penn State. That's the only other time I've ever seen it.
I knew Jed would come up with one. Yeah.
A human encyclopedia.
He sure is.
It's the only other time I've seen that. Adams Legler for the touchdown. Here's the kick, and no good.
There's something for Coach Whitey. We say we'll go back and work on a little bit.
I was going to say the part of the game is the extra point game.
Well, he's only a freshman, so there's still plenty of time to sprinkle seasoning there and bring him to the level they need. But for Mount Carmel, this has just been a joyous day, no question.
And for Shady Side, you know, you finally scored a touchdown. You 63-yard bomb, feeling a little better about yourself, and ouch, you give up an onside kick touchdown.
Well, that's the kind of play you'll see on the evening news tonight around the state.
Yeah.
Great to have you wherever you are in Pennsylvania today. Jed Donahue joined by Gary Sutton, Jim Contapio, head coach at Wilson High School. Kind enough and delighted to have Jim with us here through the second half to give you a kind of perspective from an active coach's point of view. And Mark Shuey, is always great working with you and our entire WITF production. There's Art Walker. He's got better days ahead. Shady Side's one of the real rising powers in AA. They'll be back again another day. PIAA state playoffs. Going through and still alive, Clarence Gilcrease to about the 33-yard line. Clock continuing now, 9:14. They stop it to set up down a distance. It's one of the better AA teams you've seen in a long time, Jim. I mean, do they stack up?
This is one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen in the state championship. Mount Carmel can do it all. They can run it, pass it. They have the skill, they have the quickness, they have the size and strength. They're a complete football team that's deserving of their state ranking.
Frederick, they're going back to Booker to throw. This time he sees what Frederick has all day long. Hardly time to count the house back there with that oncoming rush. It's a sea of red tornadoes. And, well, Booker's, there's Adam Fredericks. He goes, here, you deal with this.
Yeah, well,
situation.
Yeah, well, look at Andrew Frederick, though. I mean, he's got Dalkus to deal with, the defensive end as a blocker. But, you know, that's one thing about Adam Frederick. Very fine quarterback for Shady Side, but he's being recruited by Division I schools, not necessarily as a quarterback. He's just a real good athlete, and they just like his athletic skills on the football field.
I agree. He's a heck of an athlete. He's a great football player, but when you don't have any time to throw, it doesn't make a difference what kind of skills you have. You're not going to get it done.
You mentioned Dan Dalkus, number 71. He has just owned the left side of that line all afternoon.
They haven't blocked him all day. You're right. I mean, he has been in there constantly.
I'll tell you, Shady Side's very fortunate nobody's gotten hurt like an Adam Frederick the way he's coming on those around the end on the blind side hits. He has laid some ferocious hits on the quarterback, Adam Frederick.
That's very difficult for a right-handed quarterback because to his left side, you don't get to look over there all that much. And he's been coming from the blind side. And don't think that quarterback knows it, and that takes away from his effectiveness to deliver the ball effectively.
That's right. Even if there is not a rush, and Dalkus, you know, the seed has been planted by Dalkus's ferocious blindside rushes. I mean, there's got to be a clock in Adam Frederick's head that even though maybe nobody is coming from the blind side, he knows that it's only a matter of time someone's coming from the blind side.
Throws it down the middle. He's got his man, Mario Medley, to the 49-yard line on forward progress. Jim, we're seeing a little more balance year by year. A lot of talk, at least when we were in Altoona a few years ago, that the Western teams were just one-dimensional. Jam it down your throat, get in the lane, and then they get behind a little bit, and they couldn't get back in the football game. Are we seeing more balanced attacks in the state, although we've seen a lot of run-oriented attacks this weekend?
Well, it's tough to say. We came here yesterday in single A, we saw predominantly all run. In the double A, it was all run. Okay, or in the AAA, it was all run. I think what you're seeing, and traditionally out west, you know, there was always this before the state championship ever started. The Western football was better than the Eastern football.
What number?
Well, I think
Billy,
the East has answered the question here consistently over the years. The East has dominated in the state playoffs.
66.
Now, and when you look at the Quad A division, Yes, in Quad A, running the football has been it. I mean, if you can't run the football in Quad A, you can't win there. I think in the AAA and the AA's is where you see a little bit more wide open football. But I think the bottom line is coaches are convinced in December you have to be able to run the football because of the weather situation. This happens to be ideal weather situation, and I think people come in thinking they have to run it.
Here's Gilcrease off the pass. Frederick, a lot of room to roam. 25-30, foot race, midfield, and steps out of bounds, I believe. Upfield, nope, they're going to give him the football all the way down to the 28-yard line. That's a huge gain for Gilcrease.
It's only the second third down conversion all afternoon out of 12 tries. 10 penalties, too, for 96 yards. But
59 yards.
It's made up for right here in a nice screenplay.
This is one of my favorite plays in the book here, the late delayed screen.
Well, it's amazing that it did work because usually on 3rd and long, they don't work very often because everybody's on the sideline yelling, screen and draw, screen and draw. Usually they're better on 1st and 2nd downs, but that tremendous athlete right there and a great run.
I thought he stepped out right up there, but
Gilcrease did a nice job selling it, too.
Right.
I mean, he set up for the block and then peeled off his block and set up, made the nice catch, nice run afterwards.
That's all part of running the great screen. Sometimes your running backs want to release too soon, and they don't sell it.
Frederick barely got the handoff away before Mount Carmel was there. Carry by Ryan Rich. He's a senior, 5'8", 170-pounder, getting a touch. This is how quick Mount Carmel's been on the line of scrimmage. Bang, bang. That's happened 10, 11 times today, Mark.
There's that John Else right in the middle of things, too. Boy, oh, boy, I'll tell you, that defense has been outstanding. Daukus, and in the middle, too, I'll tell you, number 54, is that Evans, Jeff Evans. He at the nose tackle position. He just collapsed that pocket and got good penetration from the first series on.
Little blitz coming, pass complete over the middle. That's Booker to about the 21-yard, 23 now make it, short of a first down. Well, you look at that Sinkovich rather. He's got some of the field markings on his elbows, lamp black. He's got some of the Shady Side paint on his helmet now. He's a football player.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Arms exposed on a December afternoon.
Mount Carmel plays the 50 defense, and with the 50 defense, your nose guard and linebackers are the whole key, and they're solid up in the middle.
They had a Joe Costello 2 years ago. I thought should have been on the Big 33 team. Just a phenomenal player, a tackle machine. Booker, ball into the popcorn machine and incomplete. Gamcato could not hang on at the 19-yard line. 4:38 and counting. The clock continuing to move now. It's 44-7. A Mount Carmel runaway in Double-A.
See Frederick with another good pass here. Probably should have been caught, but just not that kind of day for Shady Side.
Well, that's that hitting you keep talking about, Jim, that they did early in the football game. It's a gift that keeps on giving later on. He hears footsteps, even phantomly so, when they're not around.
Well, when you're in the flat and your back's to the defensive side of the ball, you know there's an outside linebacker there just ready to get a good shot at you, and it takes away your concentration.
Frederick. Play action, and there's Stomko again. That's his 6th sack. Daukus, rather. He's been sensational today. All over the football field and all over Adam Frederick from start to finish. That was a 4th down play, and Mount Carmel will get it back.
Coach, we talk about the eyes on offense, but the eyes on defense so important. Feeling the blocker and seeing the ball and staying focused on the ball all the time.
Well, you know, defensive recognition, and that's all part of practice. Knowing what's coming, and when you see a certain action in front of you, who's coming out to block you. Mount Carmel right now, number 71, Daukus, has been incredible here today, and nobody's been able to block him successfully in this entire football game.
Well, nobody's been able to block Mount Carmel very well during the entire playoff successfully. They've outscored their opposition 200-28 in 5 playoff games.
Handoff Bailey to the 30-yard line. Thing that gets me, and Mark and I talk about this all the time, these linebackers at the next level that you're seeing that are 6'5", 250. Brandon Short, we saw at McKeesport a few years ago, is a 4'4", 4'5" guy. What is up with the guys that are 280, 300 pounds that now can get out on the break and do what a 260, 270-pound guy could do 5, 6, 7 years ago?
I don't know what they're eating today, Jed, but I'm telling you, last summer when I had the opportunity to coach the Pennsylvania Big 33 game, the first couple of days of practice, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. All these big individuals running them like 200-pound linemen that we're so used to coaching, and these wide receivers that can really turn on the jets.
Here come the seniors for a curtain call. Standing ovation.
Wholesale substitutions now for Mount Carmel. They are 2 minutes and 53 seconds away from a state title. Their third state title of the 90s, it would be. Won in 94, 96, now under 3 minutes away from the state title in 1998, and they have the Gatorade bucket ready for Whitey Williams.
Isn't it incredible when you look at Southern Columbia, you look at Mount Carmel, you look at Berwick, all from the general area, the kind of football that comes from that coal region area.
And just the fanatical following. It's not a following, it's a lifestyle there, as you were saying, as it is in many parts of our state.
What is really sad about the playoffs these days is Mount Carmel and Berwick don't play anymore. I'm telling you, if they did, you wouldn't find a stadium around that can hold the kind of people that would be at that game.
New player into the game. This is Jim Zublick. He's pounding forward. Fresh legs. Flag is down as he goes to the 38-yard line. Here comes Mike Melnick.
I think we're going to see a face mask call against Shady Side here.
Be 15 from the end of the run.
They're going to do the 15 as you hear from the end of the run. Our WITF production crew in partnership with the
We have grasping of the
PIAA.
face mask by the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Pennsylvania Cable Network. Well, with all the games going statewide now, I know that's gotten the coach's attention a little bit. Does that help sell the message, and also, you know, participation standpoint, I got to think a lot of kids knowing that maybe you get to the big show and it's going to be seen all over. It's got to be a big juice factor there.
Well, this is the motivator. I'll tell you what, I know it's a motivator for myself. I'm sitting here this entire weekend dreaming about the day, hopefully we can, as a Wilson Bulldog program, get to this show. I mean, it's incredible. All you need to do is come to these games, and it's a motivator. It's an unbelievable motivator for your players.
Well, the flag is down.
Holding call on Mount Carmel. Under 2 minutes to go.
11 penalties against
We have a
Shady
holding
Side
penalty
this
against the
afternoon for
offense.
111 yards.
Penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
By the way, in case you're wondering, Jason Malakowski of Mount Carmel and Chris Cuff, they were in charge of dumping the Gatorade on Coach Whitey Williams. They shanked it. That's about the only thing Mount Carmel has missed today.
He only got his heel wet.
Missed the intended target with the Gatorade.
Well, they're getting the hats handed out right now. Apparently, you know, it's like true professional football almost. The hats pre-printed here, and that's confidence.
That is confidence, getting embroidery work done before the outcome.
Anybody ever wonder about if you print those things up and all of a sudden you lose? What happens to those?
Coaches hate that superstition, you know.
Oh, I know that.
I remember when we were in the state title game back in '91. I had a group of people come up and said, "Do you mind if we print hats?" I said, "Don't talk to me about this, please." Well, they went ahead and did it, and those hats could never be worn. But it's a superstition that guys have. But it's a neat thing right now. Everybody from Mount Carmel is going to walk around with a state championship hat, and they're going to feel very proud. And those same hats, probably after this game, they can sell about 2,000 of them right now to everybody in the bleachers.
Booster clubs and the like. Get down to about the final $1.15 in this game. 44-7. It has been just a sensational performance by Mount Carmel.
We're going to try to get a look over the Mount Carmel side here in a moment and get a look at those brand new white and red hats.
It's Jim Zublick on the carry. He's a junior. You expect to see him a lot next year. Although John Beach, the sophomore, what a sensational look he is today. There it is.
Uh-huh.
It's an even-numbered year.
Well, not quite yet. 45 seconds to go, but it's you could write it in.
Pretty safe.
That's a good-looking lid.
With it is Mike Powell up the middle. Powell is a junior.
Tell you what, a lot of work went into those lids. You know, I mean, these guys have been at it since, what, mid-August? What a long road here. Mid-December, games every week, practices all week. That's Shady Side Academy, too. I mean, there are no losers once you get to this point in the season.
They're on their feet.
Well, Coach, one other thing, too. You can't win or lose this game you get in this game, can you?
No, no, no. You walk out of here feeling very proud, and to have the opportunity to play for a state championship in a great state of Pennsylvania.
Jim Contafio, delightful having you with us in the second half. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Keep doing the good work.
All right, Jim Contafio joining us toward the end of the game, and There's an active coach's perspective, and I think Jim's got a lot of good things to say right there. And boy, what more can you say? Real quick, guys, 44-7 Mount Carmel, just an exclamation point of a win today.
Well, yeah, I really haven't seen a better performance at the AA level at this championship level. It really, every phase of the game, Mount Carmel was just an outstanding team today. Offensively, everything worked. Defensively, Shady Side, it's a big play offense, but they could never get on track. Their skill people, tremendous skill people for Shady Side, could really never get into their game.
Well, it was a lethal combination today of persistence, determination, athleticism, size, you name it. It all came together in determination to win a state championship, and that determination was printed today in the colors red and white, the colors of Mount Carmel.
They were just incredible. And again, it's been great bringing this to you statewide. We've got another game today at 5 o'clock in Quad A. The big fellows coming out front and forward. Number 7 national team in the country, that being the Central Bucks West. They're going to tangle headstrong with Newcastle, the champion out of the West. Mount Carmel, 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, just jumped all over this thing and roared to a 44-7 victory against Shady Side and win the championship in AA. A lot of thanks to the executive staff of the PIAA, our friends here at the Hershey Entertainment and Resort Company, our host this weekend of this PIAA State Championship. And again, thanks to the Pennsylvania Cable Network bringing this to you statewide live, and the WITF production crew, as always in partnership with the PIAA and PCN. For Gary Sutton, for Mark Shuey, I'm Jed Donahue. It was a Red Tornado runaway, 44-7. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
This game was paid for by PCN and your local cable TV system.